Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to another Nacho Tuesday here. And today I have Ariel with, he's the founder of Receive. And without further ado, we'd love if you could tell us a bit about yourself and what you do over there at Receive.
Great to have you, Andy. Hello to everyone. Good afternoon, good morning, wherever you are in the world. Hello from Tel Aviv. So I'm the CEO and founder of Receive, but really the best pleasure I have is working with the wonderful team around me and being able to really kind of change the way that small businesses access their liquidity, the way they think about finances. And so really my role is the least important. The best thing I get to do is work with some incredibly talented folks and customers and really challenge the way kind of people view traditional finance. It's a real blessing and thrilled to be a part of the team.
Yeah, exciting times, especially with interest rate cuts coming. And the whole last couple of years have been pretty exciting, as people know. So I guess what inspired you to start the company?
Wow. So I've had a wonderful career. It's been varied in a lot of different ways. Everything from selling paint door to door to being a DJ, working in advertising. One of the interesting truisms that just kept coming up to me, no matter if I was talking to a big enterprise customer, smaller customer, was that there was always people that had to pay for things, which we'll call accounts payable, and then people who had to get money, which was called accounts receivable. And that just got further honed with the way people pay, the way people interacted with their money. You know, given my incredible experience at Amex with just an unbelievable team of payment experts and such an incredible organization that had gone through a variety of different, morphings, I would say, right? They started as originally, right? It started by Wells and Fargo moving, cargo and transport and traveler's checks. And then, in the 50s coming out with credit cards, right? Just constantly evolving and hearing how people thought about things and how they developed the payment ecosystem, and then having a wonderful tenure at Green Dot and, being able to see the evolution of kind of, the banking as a service world, which is now known more as the embedded finance. And then going to Melio, which was a rocket ship and an incredible, accounts payable and really in deep discussions with small businesses on what are their pain points, what are they doing, how are they managing cash flow. So really, I was blessed to have all these interesting experiences. And going back to what I had said, just seeing that everybody had things to pay for and things to get paid for, and the cost that came with accessing capital, the ability to use it at the right time, at the right moment, have transparency into their finances. That was something that I just kept hearing time and time again. And I didn't feel really ready to take the jump, to be honest with you, but it just kept being experience after experience. And eventually, I just built up a wonderful team of friends, family, and mentors that said, hey, I think now's the time. And they were, I don't want to say a soft landing, but I would say a hard push out the door to go get it done. And they believed in me, and they've been nothing but wonderful, support system ever since. So I think really solving that key pain point was where I started. And as you know, and I'm sure you guys have experienced, and everyone does, right? You start on one tangent or one particular thesis, and it evolves and it gets stronger, and you start to see new parts encapsulated into it. And you start to see, well, you may have been solving for X, there's actually X and Y that you can solve for. So I definitely feel that that's something that we've been able to kind of unearth here at Receive.
Yeah, it sounds like you have a lot of passion for what you do, and you have the right chops for it too, right? A lot of real entrepreneurs kind of realize the problem themselves, and they have like a little bit of experience or the skill necessary to maybe create a product that they can bring to market that helps solve that problem in many cases that they might have experienced as a small business owner themselves. So what got you into alternative financing of all things? I mean, I agree with you. Cash flow is king for any business to be able to survive. Did you tell us about like why you got into alternative financing as opposed to trying to go some of the routes maybe some of the banks like to offer?
Yeah, and I think that the banks offer an incredible service, right? Like they've obviously been a cornerstone of our civilization, of almost every civilization, right? Money movement. And I think just the evolution of tech, I've always kind of been into tech, even when I was DJing, and not a very good DJ, but just seeing the evolution of tech, how you could process songs faster, compress them, put them out, right? The way technology just advanced these things, I was really, really interested in it. And obviously, just even going from, kind of my time at Amex, then Green Dot and Melio, you saw how quickly things even moved, APIs, access, all the different kind of infrastructure aspects. And it really got me going, saying, okay, what's next? And I think the banks are wonderful, and there's so many, great solutions out there. But my vision was, can we do something that's a little bit outside the norm, a little bit different? It uses, nothing. what we're doing is building off some of the most incredible technology and kind of visionaries have done, and we're helping adapt that to meet the times and the needs of our customers today. So that was kind of the catalyst here. Can we do something cool? And to be honest, moving to Tel Aviv, being around incredible entrepreneurs such as Matan, Elon, and Ziv from Melio, and just different folks you meet all around, they're constantly challenging the status quo and saying, why not instead of why? And I love that. So with that kind of thinking, I was off to the races, and grateful for the people around me who really helped push that idea. But the idea was, can we challenge some of the things that are basically considered, I don't want to say taboo, but kind of just industry standard? Can we evolve them? And we're not saying that we have to uproot the whole industry, but can we provide an alternative to folks? So I think that kind of thinking led us naturally towards that alternative finance aspect.
That's great. So yeah, I'd love if you could touch on alternative financing and, for the uninitiated, what is it and what alternative financing options are there?
Yeah, it means a lot of different things to a lot of different folks, but I'll tell you how I think about it is, can we use data? Can we use technology to come with a new, innovative, and more small business friendly approach to accessing their liquidity? That's the core way I view it. I know it means different things to different folks. And, everybody, when I get asked, what's the best option? What do you recommend? Things of that nature. I say, it really depends on each business. It depends on what they're looking for. Some folks might need a merchant cash advance. Generally, maybe not, right? And part of our vision is, can we challenge that? Maybe you do need a little bit of a loan, but do you need the full kit and caboodle, right? Do you need to take out the full 10 million or 8 million? And then can we help you and save you interest on 2-3 million, which is real bottom line savings for those businesses? And I think it's just, having the opportunity to work with these companies and then talking to small businesses and hearing, hey, can you do this? Can you do that? And it's funny because if you look at it through a traditional framework of financial institutions and kind of the ecosystem as it is, the answer is no. But the real question is, are you willing to? And we here at Receive, the answer was, yes, we're willing to view things differently.
We'll find a way.
Yeah, we'll find a way, and we do it in a safe and really kind of intuitive manner. We're working with our customers to make sure that they can reach the goals that they need. We have a wonderful tech team, product team, sales team. Everybody's very in the loop. And it's just an exciting time to be at the forefront. And very similar to, as I mentioned, instead of saying, why can't we say, why not? How do we approach this differently?
Yep. Yeah. And you're probably getting away a lot from just relying on basic credit scores and some of the old school ways of doing it, maybe looking at other signals to determine if somebody's, if you could actually lend the money and they'll pay it back. Do you guys have anything like that, or what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, without opening, the secret box too open, we'll say that, I'm sure you guys have run into this, right? Credit scores, personal credit scores, there's a utilization rate you can't go above, right? There are other extenuating factors that you may not know about. It could be a medical bill, it could be something like that brings your score down. That doesn't make a lot of sense, right? And especially as we enter, the open banking, we're on the precipice of that, right? That's right around the corner. All these things are saying, how do we give the consumers the strength that they need? But for Receive, we're focused on helping those small businesses, right? Small businesses are the backbone of the U.S. economy. They make the economy tick, right? I don't remember the exact stat, 90%, 91% of Americans are employed by small businesses. That is the chunk that we are absolutely focused on. And if it comes to liquidity, how can we do it differently? Can we do it without APRs? Can we do it in real time? All these variables that we said, why not? And we're here to challenge.
Well, I really like your guys' vision. So I guess going forward with the interest rate cuts coming up tomorrow, actually, where do you see it going from here with the interest rate cut cycle? How is that going to affect alternative financing and other forms of financing for that matter?
Yeah, I think that the traditional forms of financing rely much more heavily on that. I think the alternative folks use things that are a bit more innovative, right? We're focused on different aspects to either monetize or risk against hedge or rates, for example. So I think we view things a little bit differently and we're less tied to that. Now, that being said, we work with a bank. We have a wonderful bank partner, right? Like we have all these, traditional FI aspects. For us, it actually doesn't impact our business necessarily as much, but, I think that there's always a balance to be struck, right? If we go backwards, a zero interest environment is probably not a great place to be. Yeah. And, having capital be too expensive, it impacts housing markets, access to capital makes it a bit more restrictive. So I think there is a balance to be struck. And, I'm not an economist by any stretch of the imagination, but we'll have to see how it plays out. My gut tells me that I think companies have become much more innovative, much more customer centric, and less focused on the the bips or the basis points, and much more focused on the customer and how can we deliver that long-term value. So not what did my mom used to tell me, penny wise and pound foolish, right? We want to be able to say maybe the pennies fall off a little bit, but how do we build relationships that are going to change these businesses and be there forever?
Yeah, great customer experience is at the core of every great company and product, and it's more competitive than ever these days. So, industries have to evolve to be able to meet that need and those expectations of the customers to be able to, deliver and even excel because of it.
I think it's become table stakes, right? Like I think I've had the privilege, as I mentioned before, of working at some incredible companies that's at the forefront, right? Like Amex winning JD Power all the time, right? Melio is very very focused on these things. Green Dot as well. It's pretty amazing to see how important that aspect is. And I think where that used to be maybe secondary, that's definitely at the forefront. And we take a lot of pride in our relationship with our customers, our relationship across the board, and especially with ourselves. So it's a key component, and yeah.
That's awesome. So, I guess what factors should a small business consider when they're considering different financing and cash flow tools?
Yeah, again, it's hard for me to give it in just a standard approach for everybody. It does matter, right? It depends if your business is seasonal. Depends if you're looking for expansion.
Yeah.
Depends, are you looking for payroll, right? There's a lot of different variables that go into this, but I'd say that there's a pretty broad spectrum, and I think that the thinking has to be not just that I'm solving today, but that I'm solving for the future. Meaning, this may be good today, but if it carries very high interest rates, covenants, things that might sink your business, those
Yeah.
are things that need to be taken very, very seriously at that time of decision. And I think that one of the beauties in democratizing finance or coming up with alternative finance options is that we can give people answers that they may have not found. So, one of the good things about the internet and the variety of, I'll call it access, and that's one of
Mhm.
our slogans, access anytime, anywhere, right? Is the ability to be informed and make a smart decision. So I would say, do the
Smart.
research, make sure that it's not just word of mouth, right? That you're able to really suss things out and understand how these things work. And some things may work for some folks that may need it in the short term, some folks in the long term. I think that there's a lot of different things. And I think that, generally we try to recommend going for the same way people used to talk about VC as founder friendly, we try
Yep.
to do business friendly, right? What's going to be good for you so that you can build your business, help employ the people that you need to, and grow the business the way you anticipated. So it'll be accretive, not restraining or, God forbid, prohibitive.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Because I think a lot of times people kind of fall into like the bucket of, hey, I need to raise VC for my company. Maybe you don't, right? Some of the more CPG like product focused companies that carry inventory might need maybe inventory financing. So considering these other options there could really make it for a company, right? Whereas VC could be great initially, but it could be prohibitive because then now you owe people money. You have to get to the next round. You have to always increase your valuation somehow. You lose sight of the small steps that you need to take along the way. Whereas really, you just need to be able to put up some money for some inventory you're going to be able to turn in a couple of months anyway. And that's just one example, right? But it all starts with education, right? So there is so many alternative financing options out there that a lot of small business owners don't even know about. That might be a better fit for them than some of the first ones that come to mind initially. And I like that you guys are focusing on education for that because I think that education component is very key for small business owners so they do get the right options in place at the right time.
Totally, Andy. You're spot on. And by the way, we're really lucky and blessed. We have an incredible list of investors that have been nothing but super helpful. They pick up the phone at all hours. I'm up all the time, so they're always answering. They're always helpful, and we're super blessed. But yeah, it may not be the answer for everybody, and that's some of what we say. Like when we can give you liquidity, if we can cover X percent, and that means less of a loan. If you're looking at it SOFR plus plus, we can save you X amount of dollars. Right? There's a lot of different calculations, the inputs that go in before the output comes out. And we just want to make sure that folks are using the right inputs and that if we can help, we are there to help.
That's great to hear. So I guess what other financing trends do you see happening over the next few years that companies should be aware of?
Wow. I think it's even a broader one. One of the trends that, we strongly believe in and we see is just the embedded nature of finance, right? Obviously, given my background at Green Dot and Melio, I believe very strongly in this, but I think that having a single source of truth is super valuable for these small businesses. Having 10, 20, 30 different sites gets very, very confusing. But if
Yeah.
you are a SaaS company or whatever it might be, and you have the ability to offer tangential value that helps you grow your user base, deliver LTV, while also really driving value. I'm talking about day-to-day value, day-to-day engagements. I think that's really where the next iteration is going to come from. Because I think, as you're aware, right, generally things get very, very competitive and starts to become a race to the bottom. So if
Yeah.
you're able to offer alternative products, things that are, maybe not exactly in line with what you did, but a short, skip away, I think that just becomes a natural extension, which diversifies what you're able to offer to your user base. So that is the trend that I see coming in the near future. Listen, it's definitely here. We see it, but I see it expanding even more, whether it be through SaaS companies. I see it expanding quite a bit.
Yeah, especially in your space, it could be easy to say, "Oh, we're offer lower rates," right? And then everybody's doing it. But what you're really selling is a great experience, and I think that philosophy can be applied to any SaaS company, like you're doing for your company as well in the financing space, offering a much better financing experience for small businesses to be able to get the financing that they actually need and actually understand the process. So you're really winning there, in my opinion. And then I think for SaaS companies too, maybe the larger concept here is that you can win on customer experience. You don't have to have this race to the bottom in terms of pricing and even feature to feature comparison. There's so many other SaaS products launching so quickly these days that it's hard to discern the difference between products just based on features alone. But if you have a great experience, a great UX, people that come to you will onboard more easily. They'll like your product. They'll use it. They'll engage with it more effectively, and eventually become a net promoter, telling all their friends about it. And you can eventually build a community around what you're working on.
Andy, you're spot on, right? I think that the days of growing to 1 million customers, that could still happen. But would you rather have 10,000 customers that are engaged through 3 to 5 to 7 products and have been with you for 4 to 7 years, something along those lines? I think that the metrics have changed a little bit. So, also, by the way, kind of tying back to your prior question with interest rates, obviously, VC funding slowed a little bit, and different things have ebbed and flow. So I think that part of this is a little bit of the tightening of the belt, and we're seeing folks say, how do I drive the most value for my customers? How do I drive long-term relationships and partnerships? And I remember being in a town hall and hearing Ken Chenault speak about this, and it was unbelievable. It blew my mind. And he was a visionary and an incredible leader. So trying to adapt that and say, how do we do the same thing, right? How do we reach this audience and create a wonderful experience? Obviously, we have our competitive edge, right? We don't charge APRs, etc. But I think that there's a lot that can be done and that will be done.
Awesome. So I guess expanding on that concept, we talked about how experience is kind of a great is a great tool for companies, SaaS companies, to be able to leverage to win customers over and keep them. Do you have any other tips for SaaS product companies to get some initial traction with their customers and scale from there?
Oh, wow. I'm not a SaaS expert by any means. Some of our investors are the best in the SaaS space, so I just get to hear them kind of talk about it. I think it's really, it's interesting. It's not just honing in on an ICP that you think works, but it's listening to the customers, hearing what they really need. When I always think about this story, and my team knows this, like I always talk about it, it's like Slack is my favorite, right? Like they started as a gaming company and then moved to messaging, right? Not always where you start is where you end, but just by simply listening and digesting and being flexible, that's the advantage of this world now, right? We can be flexible on the drop of a dime, and that's beautiful. That's an incredible thing to say, hey, we have some traction. We think if we go this way, we can really change the world. And I love that. So flexibility is core and key.
Yeah, especially in today's fast-moving business environment, right? The generalized products don't really work for everybody anymore. It's more like specializing and really designing an experience that really caters to a customer, but a particular customer set. But it all starts with listening to them, right? Seeing what they really care about instead of making assumptions about it.
Totally, 100%. Like we have to make a leap of faith at some point, right?
Yep.
I don't want to say entrepreneurs.
Have a
I don't
theory
consider
in
myself
place
in
at
that.
least.
Yeah. I want to say entrepreneurs do. I just, from what I observed, I don't consider myself one. I see these folks that have built, these men and women that have built incredible businesses. We're just giving it our all and trying to do, the best we can for our customers. But when I hear from them and I get a wonderful opportunity to hear them speak or, talk to them one-on-one, they have a thesis and they just keep an open-minded. It's like, it's a really interesting, it reminds me of like the days I played hockey, right? You used to have a stick that was really strong, but when you leaned on it, it started to bend, right? They called it flex. So it's something that I try to keep in my mind all the time as well.
Yep. Yeah, yeah, I think you touched on a good point there. Like just the general takeaway from that, I think, anybody can apply to their business, right? And I think from an entrepreneurial standpoint, it's not really a label, it's an act, right? So you become an entrepreneur by the things that you do, as opposed to just saying, hey, I'm going to start a company. And it looks like, you guys have really accomplished something over there. So kudos to that. I guess, could you share a success story from some of the customers that you've helped with your platform and how you've helped improve their financial situation?
Sure. I won't say any names, obviously for customer confidentiality, and I'll kind of blur the scenarios a little bit. But in essence, we had a customer that really, really needed inventory.
Mhm.
The sales were tied up. It was a really, really bad moment, and we were able to provide that liquidity for them to spend. And then the money hit the bank account, and we pulled it back. And we saw the sales just immediately start to uptick. And to be honest with you, they've been one of our longest selling customers, and it's just been amazing to see. We have had other customers that have said, cards have gone stale. They've lost, X dollars because this happened. So the
Mhm.
ability to hear from them and tweak our products or change or come out with something new to help them has been really, really special. This particular customer, meant a lot to us. They were willing to take a bet on us early on. And I think that that's true across the board with everyone. And I always tell folks, if you're willing to take a bet on somebody, be patient and believe in the future, not just today, right?
Yep.
Things are going to go wrong, right? They always, always, always go wrong.
Yeah.
The Wi-Fi goes out, the internet goes out, this gets lost. These things happen. And that's just part of the world that we live in, which is tech. But just to be patient and watch them grow and help them grow. And to be candid, they've made us better. So I look at our customers and say, they make us better.
Yeah, no good thing's easy, right? And anything that is easy isn't worth it.
I wish it was, but I definitely think that's a very, very true saying.
Yeah, it's because you could be able to look back and reflect on the challenges, right? And then appreciate, how you went about solving those challenges. I think it's a lot more rewarding from that, as opposed to, if it was just like an easy success and everything just worked by pressing a button.
There are definitely some nights at 3 a.m. I might disagree with you, but
Yeah, especially if we're taking calls at 7:30 almost over there in Israel.
this is our pleasure, though. I tell people,
Oh, me too. Yeah.
yeah, it's a pleasure to be on the call and work with an incredibly talented team. I could have only dreamt for this opportunity, right? When you come out of college, some folks know what they want to do. I got brothers that are finance folks; they knew what they wanted to do. There were times DJing, I was away from home, things like that. So it's a real blessing to be able to work with incredibly talented people, work with incredible businesses that are doing really interesting and fun things, and just be together on this journey. So I consider myself really lucky, even at 3 a.m. Sometimes you got to wake up, something going on, but we make sure to keep that at the forefront. How lucky and special this opportunity is.
Well, if you're really passionate about it, the day never really ends at 5, right? I mean, the person that likes the journey would go further than the person that likes the destination.
Yeah. It's so true. I love that. I'm going to take that. It's definitely true. Like, I love fintech. I love money movement. I find it so fascinating. And whether it's cross border, inter-border, right? Like, I always think about, if we were willing to just settle for what was, then people would go out to pizza and then mail $1 to somebody. But nobody would do that. You would send it via Venmo. So what that technology has done is democratize access. It's given that liquidity on demand at a push of a button. That's awesome. We're living in incredible times where we can keep building financial products at a lower cost than it ever has been, right? Banks
Yeah.
are keen to work with us, fintech players, middlewares. Like, these are folks that are saying, hey, we're going to own a part of this and we're going to help you achieve the goal that you want to achieve. And, again, like, having investors, friends, family, customers that believe in us means the world. So, like you said, the ability to marry a passion with people that we love, it's a special opportunity.
Yeah, and you get to be a part of a lot of other people's success stories too, right? And say, hey, I was a part of that, right? You're kind of like a linchpin in the success and growth of those companies.
Andy, you're spot on. I will tell you again, without any names, I've gotten notes from customers that say, hey, you helped us do X or achieve Y or complete Z, right? And it's funny to go to bed and say, wow, I feel really good about what I'm doing, right?
Yeah.
It's fun. It's super stressful. Like I said,
Yeah.
there's those 3, 4 a.m. sleepless nights. But when you get those things, it makes it all worth it. So,
Yeah.
it's not an easy path, but it's definitely a fulfilling path.
Yeah, totally agree there. So I guess for the companies listening today, how can they get on board with Receive? What evaluation criteria do you guys use to vet companies and get them on board with you?
Totally. So I know we're in the NachoNacho SaaS marketplace, right? Under accounting and finance, you can see our Receive option there. Generally, we ask folks, to come on through. You have to pass KYB, so know your business, right? We ask for some, information that we can check and just ensure that you are who you say you are, and we have our own internal compliance that we have to make sure that that passes, right? That's like paramount here. But assuming everything is all checks, then we ask you to connect the platform. We've been, very lucky to work with some great partners and can connect to Shopify, Amazon, Stripe, Square. We have I think it's 19 different connections.
Wow.
And then we ask you to connect your bank account, and pretty much in real time, we take a look at all that. We've built some really, really innovative kind of homegrown systems that we take a look at things, and then we provide you what we call spending power, the ability to go out there and spend money on our Receive card and be able to grow your business kind of in real time. So, and again, it's dynamic. So as you grow and as your sales grow, we're able to increase that and give you the liquidity you need to grow your business. So I'd say head over to the app within NachoNacho in the marketplace. If you have any questions, reach out to me. Happy to chat with anybody anytime.
Excellent. So I guess are there any certain industries that you guys work best with?
It's been really interesting. I think I started off by thinking that we'd be in one specific industry, but I think Receive has had great ubiquity, to be honest with you. Like, it's been interesting. We definitely have some hand raisers in the e-commerce world. That's certainly been kind of our bread and butter to date. But we see folks such as, auto body shops, coffee shops, things like that, that just, if you have a Square terminal, you have a Clover terminal, you have Stripe, you have any of those, you can get on board with Receive. So I'd say that where we started is not always where we're going, and I think my vision as it is that we want to reach every SMB, whether it be online to Main Street. We view Receive as a ubiquitous solution to provide access anytime, anywhere, and do it for free.
Awesome. So I guess to sum it all up, what are the top 3 things that customers should consider when looking to work with Receive?
Sure. First of all, to understand how we work, right? You'll see that when you sign up. Number 2, go through the sign up process and know that you will have somebody on the other line who's here to answer your questions and work with you to help you grow your business. And number 3, know that we're open to feedback, right? We understand that there's a lot that we know, but there's probably more that we don't know. And that the sign up process really takes less than a minute. It'll be through the gate and we'll reach out. We've built some wonderful engagement tools, and we're very proud of our dashboard where you can go and get a consolidated view of everything you've sold, everything that you have spent on the card, and everything that's going to be pulled. We view it as a center of financial truth. So we hope that can really compel businesses to have a kind of we call it a 360 view, but basically a holistic view of their business and be able to grow accordingly. That's the vision in a nutshell.
You guys have a great vision. I'm pretty impressed. So for anybody that wants to learn about Receive services, you can go to nowreceive.com. That's receive as in receiving money. Very important for a business to be able to grow. That's nowreceive.com. You could also pick them up today as we're proud partners of Receive in the NachoNacho marketplace. I believe we have an offer for 0 fees and interest. So, I mean, that's a no-brainer for any company, right? So definitely come check it out today, either in our marketplace or go to nowreceive.com. Sign up for them today, and your business could be growing faster tomorrow and more efficiently than ever before.
Yeah, 100%. So thank you, Andy, for having us. And to any prospective customers, we look forward to welcoming you with open arms and getting to know you and grow your businesses. So can't wait. And Andy, thank you so much.
Awesome, Ariel. It's been a pleasure. Thank you.
Pleasure. Have a wonderful day. Thank you, everyone.